Hello, this is episode 2 of the PixelBlips podcast for June 17th. I am Andrew Ryan, PixelBlips.com news editor. It's Brian Studelberg, PixelBlips.com associate editor. David DeWert, PixelBlips.com associate editor.
Yay.
So, we'll start this off in very generic fashion. What's everyone playing this week?
Okay, I've been playing a lot of Space Marine, Warhammer 40k Space Marine.
You gotta say the whole title.
Okay.
40,000.
40,
not 40K.
40,000, whatever. Space Marines win. That's all that happens. It's pretty good so far.
So you're saying I convinced you to buy a PlayStation Plus
You didn't
account.
convince me anything. Sony's like, hey, here's 12 free games if you give us $15 for the next 3 months, and that's what I did.
So was it you or your wife deciding for the 3 months? Did she
I
want it?
I didn't want to spend the $50 on a year. I want to see what I get in the first 3 months. I mean, I got that free month last year that I hardly used.
Yeah.
But I had fun with it so far. I'm only about, I don't know, maybe halfway through the game. Of course, I kind of suck at third-person shooters, so...
And it is very much a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
I'm playing it as well. I actually just beat it. The only thing I didn't like about it was I wanted there to be a cover mechanic.
And there wasn't.
There's not a cover mechanic, but at the same time, I've read one of the Warhammer 40,000 books, and there's tons of them. And the story is these Space Marine guys are basically walking tanks. They have I want to say 4 lungs and stuff, they're genetically engineered to be
They're huge.
huge freaking guys in giant suits of armor. So it makes sense that there's not a cover mechanic.
Because they don't need it.
Because they don't need it. But there's a lot of times in the game where you do need it.
Yeah. Or you wind up just hiding behind a wall to let your shield regen, or waiting for one enemy to come out so you could stun him and regen a bunch of life.
Yeah, what did you think of the regaining health mechanic?
You can't really use it in the middle of a fight because you'll just get destroyed by everything else, and you can't do a quick kill. You have to do the whole long drawn out thing. Yeah.
I didn't like it. I thought it was interesting, but after 30% of the game, I was ready for there just to be health packs.
I mean, and it's kind of nice that you get different animations with the different melee weapons you have. I just got through a section where you got the jump pack and the two-handed hammer.
Oh, I love the hammer.
That was like the most overpowered fun section I've had so far.
Yeah, spoiler alert, there's another of those sections towards the end of the game.
That's fine.
It's one of the most fun moments in the game.
Yeah, those are just, the 2 that I've ran into so far are just the most fun parts of the game for me. Where you get to jump around, you get all the mobility that you don't normally have.
Because you're big and slow. And what'd you think of the graphics?
I mean,
How
looks
does it look?
2 years old or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It
looks a little chunky, especially in those cutscenes, because all the cutscenes are rendered in engine.
Yeah.
And when some of those textures were not meant to be zoomed in on.
No, but it was also released for the PC and the 360, so the PC version probably looks really awesome.
Yeah.
Or as good as it could get when they were working on it. The 360 version probably doesn't look as good as the PS3, but that's just what it is.
Would you, having played half of it, would you have bought it at retail?
Probably not. I'm glad I got it for, at this point, I've $5 because I've downloaded 3 games through the thing so far. And it's maybe $15. I would have bought it for what I bought Darksiders for.
Yeah, having beat it, I haven't beat Darksiders yet. That's still in my jumbo to play stack.
I want to get that done before 2 comes out this year.
Yeah, but I would have probably played $20 for Space Marine.
$15-20.
Yeah, but having said that, I said I've read one of the books, but it's a huge jumbo universe, a big license, and that $15-20 kind of comes down to the fact that I don't know that license, and I really don't. I mean, I like it now that I've played it, but I don't really care for it.
Yeah, it's not something you would just keep buying year after year.
Yeah, it's not like that came out and I was like, oh my god.
If
it said Avengers or Lord of the Rings, I would have been like, oh my god. But when you make a licensed game like that, a lot of that comes into it.
Yeah, you get a lot of the fanboys.
Yeah. So Brian, what are you playing?
Actually, funny enough, on a video game podcast, I'm playing absolutely nothing.
What?
So
That's not true. Brian just had a kid, George. So happy Father's Day.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, but having a 7-month-old at home sort of cuts into the video game playing time a little bit. So
Could see that.
Brian told me this week that he played what did you say, half a lap of
MotorStorm, like remote control, like
MotorStorm RC.
Yeah. Got half a lap in between cries.
Yeah, that's about all I could get in, but it was pretty fun. Like 5 minutes.
I like it. I like it on my Vita.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I got it. I got it during the promotion when it was free. So
yeah,
that always colors your enjoyment of games. I think of is how much you paid for them. Like I paid $60 for Lord of the Rings Conquest, I think, and that game was not worth $60. I mean, it's
and you're
fun.
A giant token nerd.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's not worth $60. I think publishers need to realize that not everything has to be a $60 retail, a $30 budget, or like a $10 downloadable. Like there needs to be more sway in there.
Well, yeah, and Steam does a really good deal with that, right?
Yeah,
where their indie games can be $5 to $10. They have those sales in the middle of the week, and I know you're like, oh, well, that depreciates the value of the game.
Cutting the huge deep discounts does depreciate the overall value of the game.
But Valve's already bought all those licenses. They're just trying to get rid of them. And the developers or the publishers have already gotten their money from Valve, even if they bought them, 4,000 of them at $30 a head. 4,000 licenses or something,
That's what we're going to subtitle this podcast episode. PixelBlips Podcast, Episode 2, 40,000. It's going to be the running theme today.
Okay.
But Steam has a very good platform. Steam does. I feel that Steam single-handedly has kept PC gaming going.
It's not hurting it, no. Origin isn't helping it, because Origin is not very good, in my opinion.
But competition's always good in the marketplace. I mean, the reason we all hate's a strong word, but the reason we all don't like GameStop is that there's not a competitor for GameStop.
Not anymore, because they bought them all.
Yeah. Like, there used to be Funkoland and Babbage's and Software, etc. And what was the other one? Electronics Boutique.
But you have vintage stock, and they're as close to a competitor as you can get. There's also GameCos around here. There's one or two. So there are competitors for it, but games...
There's this sweet little store over about a mile from here called Gamer's Paradise, which a guy actually put up his own collection for sale and rent and opened up a storefront.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Huh.
He has copies of Lunar Complete and Lunar Eternal Blue Complete for rental.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I wouldn't even let people rent them. I wouldn't even play them. I would just look at them in a box.
I played through mine, and the first disc got destroyed of Silver Star Complete, and that was sad.
So I'm playing a bunch of stuff, because I'm always playing a bunch of stuff. I'm playing a lot on my Vita, because it's been a slow work week. So I'm playing through Uncharted Golden Abyss on hard, which I'm amazed, every time I play it, I'm amazed at how close to the caliber of an Uncharted game they got on a portable. That it's, they didn't exceed expectations, but it is as good as Uncharted 1, Drake's Fortune.
Well, I mean, the Vita is a more powerful system. If they had tried to do it on the PSP, it wouldn't have worked, because it would have looked chunky and blocky, and the textures would have been low res, and you got the Vita, and it's a good piece of hardware. It's just, you have to get games for it. So.
I'm also playing Ys 7. Ys. You have to say Ys.
Okay.
Someone is already upset that we pronounced that wrong, but yes, YS7. It's a PSP game. I downloaded it for my Vita a couple of months ago. It's an action RPG, fast, fun. Pick up and play for a little bit. Save anywhere. Put it down. At home, like I said, I beat Space Marine. Yeah. I'm also playing Just Cause 2, another one of the freebie games.
Yeah. I thought about that, but I'm running out of hard drive space.
Yeah, I'm not.
Shut the fuck.
I like Just Cause 2. I think I like Just Cause 2 less than Space Marine. There's a lot of quirks in that game. It looks like it came out right after Square Enix bought Eidos. And there's a lot of weird, quirky controls, and it's an open world game, and there's a lot of times that I fall back into the Grand Theft Auto controls, and I think that's a bad thing.
It's a downer.
Because it's not meant to control it. Like you can't, pop your handbrake, spin the car around, and shoot out a window.
Yeah.
And if you can, I haven't figured out how yet. But the one thing I do like about it is a lot like one of my other favorite games of this generation, Red Faction. Guerrilla.
Okay.
Guerrilla was the first one this generation, maybe. I don't know. You stop with subtitles. We need to get back to numbers. But Red Faction Guerrilla had this great mechanic where as you destroyed buildings in the different settlements in Mars, the rebel faction got stronger. So you were taking out the totalitarian government by blowing up gas depots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super fun because I like destruction. I like that.
And that's always been something that Red Faction has done. Even when the first one came out, they had destructible terrain, which you'd never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it had a limit, because I remember playing it on, I think it was either the PS2 or the,
PS2
or the PC, and, you could only do so much destruction to a level before the system just didn't have any more memory to deal with it.
Yeah, and it just stopped doing it. But, so Just Cause 2 has that same mechanic of blow up this gas depot, and the rebel faction gets stronger against the totalitarian government.
Or whatever's going on in that game, because I've heard stuff about it, and I've heard it's really fun, and just...
I hate the main character. The main character is this kind of Benicio del Toro, Antonio Banderas character, and it just seems smarmy, and maybe if I played the first one, I'd like him, or at least know his story, but at the moment it's just
not so much.
He's a badass CIA agent that jumps out of helicopters.
And has a grappling hook thing
Go.
that does all stuff. Yeah.
The grappling hook's fun. The grappling hook has changed the entire game into Spider-Man for me.
Well, there you go.
Because it is literally, that is the quickest way to get around. It's just to aim that little grappling hook. And
grappling hook around.
Yeah. So anything else? Any other?
I've just been playing a lot of Diablo 3.
Yeah, I figured.
With the real money auction house, I've kind of got to, if I want to do anything with it, I've got to, get to the higher levels of Inferno, and I'm stuck in Act 1, so.
Real money.
Hey,
house.
Yeah, it's
Because Blizzard didn't have enough problems with gold farmers and WoW.
Well, that's why they're going to curtail it and let the players sell the stuff. You could sell gold outright if you wanted to. For, $5 you could send, I think it's 5 million gold or something. If you really wanted to. I'm not saying that I'm going to be buying anything.
You're not going to quit your day job?
I wish, but no.
So that's interesting that we mentioned Diablo 3 because
Oh boy.
Brian is our Apple expert. Nay, I say genius, or is that an official Apple title?
I think
That's
that
an official
might be,
Apple title.
You need
a little
to
too
have
official. Yeah.
You need to have an actual black turtleneck.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's our Apple guy, and I don't know what WWDC stands for, but it happened.
I don't know either.
And one of the things that Apple used to show off its new laptop was Diablo 3. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't pay attention to it. One, because I'm on E3 burnout, so I really don't care about anything this week.
Yeah.
And two, because it's Apple.
Yeah.
And for the people that don't know, my stance on Apple products are they do some things very well, but other things not as well. And for the price that you're paying for that item, it should do everything at least
very
decent.
well. Yeah. Yeah, and from what I saw, I don't have the specs up here. A lot of the new MacBook Airs, granted they're super light, super thin, and probably have pretty decent battery life. They're essentially i7s with a ton of RAM and a solid state drive.
And the bad part is what?
The bad part is the price.
They're $3,000 to $4,000. I mean, they have the nice Retina display,
They're 1
right?
to 2 times the cost of a comparable
MacBook Pros
PC.
are over $2,000,
Yeah.
starting point for the Retina displays. But
Yeah.
the MacBook Pro, just the normal one,
Yeah.
is 11 something.
Yeah.
It's not crazy.
But-
and the MacBook Air started.
But if you're going to buy an
99.
Apple product, you got to get the one with the Retina display, because why the hell else?
Yeah, well, if
why
you need a
wouldn't you?
laptop.
You really want an Apple laptop. You really hate
If you're an
right-clicking
Apple
on
person, you'll buy the best one you can afford.
Yeah.
things. Oh.
And
But the point is at what point does the affordability of an item outstretch its use?
Yeah, but I think the Retina display with its high price is more of look at what we can do. This is probably going to be on all of our products, next year after. So it's more of like a expensive
First
demo.
adopter thing.
Yeah. So like, I don't think too many people are just going to be walking in and
I
I
want
need
it
a new
now.
computer. I'm going to spend $1,000 more to get a
Did
higher
Apple do that
res
again?
screen.
Did Apple do and you can buy it today?
I think on some of the stuff, yeah.
Some of the lower end ones, I think the new, like the super high end stuff, you have to wait a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the
I want it now. I want my Apple now.
new operating systems.
Get my track
Yeah,
marks.
July.
and they're giving it away for $20.
That's pretty good.
Which is, I mean, what's Windows 8 cost or gonna cost when it comes out? I mean, it's
Does
probably.
anyone care at this point?
Yeah, I don't care.
I mean,
I'm gonna use 7 until they require me to get off of 7.
yeah, I use 7 at home.
It's like
and
XP. You'll use
think-
XP until 7. It's no longer
Yeah.
supported.
I think after it's no longer supported, I kind of like the idea of a Chrome, one of their Chromebooks.
The Chrome OS.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Does seem like I haven't used one. I've heard they need to be like super tethered to the internet. And
Yeah.
They're pretty much useless if you aren't.
if you're not on Wi-Fi.
That seems like a downside to me.
the Chromebooks.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but
Then again,
once again, I'm not running out on buying one either.
yeah,
Yeah,
So
I'm good with my laptop and my desktop for the moment. So
I mean, my computer usage outside of work is email and news sites and this stuff.
you sound like my grandmother.
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't really want to play Diablo 3. And
I know.
they haven't released Half-Life 3 yet, so there's no reason for me to get a computer.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
it's just it's the
If
sad state of
Half-Life 3
affairs.
ever comes out, if they ever actually announce that they're working on it,
Somewhere right now, Gabe Newell is going, yes, more.
you forgot his knives.
Oh yeah, Gabe Newell and his knives. That is the scariest looking office in the world. So the one downer that came out on the same day as WWDC was the big hyperbolic question of
Anyway,
hyperbole, not hyperbolic. That's two different things.
Hyperbolus.
Yeah. Anyway, the question was: is app development worth it? Because apparently, Brains, this successful, really popular app.
that I've never heard of.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was featured on the iTunes store.
Yeah, so are a lot of things.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of things are. Apparently sold well, but still didn't make its money back, and it's considered one of the iTunes successes. So, I mean, we're not talking about like Rovio or Angry Birds or something like that. We're talking about like two dudes in their garage making a game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of things even they say here, like, like going the highly stylized, high-end graphics version was probably not good. That they just kind of accepted piracy was going to happen. Like, it's insane for, like, every... Let's see if I can find this.
Yeah, I saw that article, but it seems like
Where's the infographic?
they, were expecting to make a fortune and didn't.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have put, all their eggs in that basket, I guess. Put so much money and time into one thing you're going to sell for 99 cents and expect to, like,
Make
it be
money
the
off of
biggest
it, yeah.
thing ever.
Yeah.
There's just too many of them out there to
Yeah.
take a gamble like that.
Well, and the other thing is, as we're talking about, like, Warhammer Space Marine, that was like a full undertaking of an entire studio. It was a $6 boxed retail product. Of course, two dudes in the garage can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, they could, but it would take them so long that
It would be Fez.
Yeah.
Boom!
It would be Fez. Fez is ridiculous. But by the time it came out, it would not, like, if they were going for high fidelity graphics and all that, it wouldn't look as good as what's out now, so it probably wouldn't sell because a lot of people are drawn in, not all, but a lot of people are drawn in by how games look versus how they play because they don't know how they play until they play them.
You have to go on the look. I mean, but the other thing is this comes out, hot on the heels of Ben Cousins, who works for, I'm going to slaughter this pronunciation, Nagomo, Ngocomo,
Yeah.
Nagokomo, something. And he said, basically, here's Nova 2 on the iTunes store, and it's Metacritic of like 80 or something. and here's Resistance Burning Skies on the PS Vita, that they look comparable, and Burning Skies is a $40 retail or $35 or $40 retail product, and its Metacritic score is like in the 50s. And it's, you know, he holds that up as the proof positive of his thesis that the App Store and mobile and free apps are going to usurp all console gaming, and the 3DS has no point, and the Vita was stillborn, and all this stuff. Stuff that I personally don't agree with. Stuff that I find ludicrously hilarious coming from a dude that works for a mobile developer. I mean, that would be like, you know, someone at Naughty Dog coming out and saying, yeah, mobile games are never going to happen. Well, of course, mobile games are never going to happen. You don't want them to happen. You work on $60 retail products.
Yeah. But, you know, he probably has a point, because, you know,
but Resistance
for
Burning
portable
Skies,
games,
once
I think
again,
is
it's not a
one
good
world,
game.
and, you know, console games another world, and,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't really compare the two. You
know, now we're getting into this weird little area with the apps for the Apple TV and the Vita of what is a mobile experience at home with the apps on Apple TV, and then the Vita is that home console experience out on the go. And where does that line blur? Which, you know, is a master of the segues here. It's a good segue into our next topic. You know, is one of the big stories this week is the PlayStation Vita dead on arrival? Has it died? Was it, you know, totally abandoned? Is it shot in the face? What other?
From what I've played on your Vita,
I mean, you gotta admit, once you hold one of those and play with it for a little bit,
it's cool.
You get it.
It's cool, but I don't, you know, I'm not gonna drop the $250 or $300 on a new console that I'm hardly gonna use.
Yeah.
It's for people who have a lot of free time in their day, or, you know, students, people who have jobs like you guys, where you don't have something to do, but you're still getting paid, so you sit around and play video games all day.
Well, that's not what we do.
Well,
and hopefully our bosses did not hear that. So
we'll have to fuzz that
luckily,
out on
no
YouTube.
one watches this.
But
no one watches this. Us and our 9 views on YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyway,
3 of them are us.
Yeah.
But
you know, if
there's nothing that's come out for it that has made people want to buy it.
That's
I mean,
true.
there is the Uncharted game that came out. I'm sure that sold some, but a lot of it is
successful.
It's downsized versions of full PS3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing I can think of right offhand is, you know, end of the year, Liberation's going to come out. The Assassin's Creed Liberation's going to come out. Probably come in a bundled thing with the Vita.
It is.
And that might sell a decent amount of units.
Yeah. Well, we had Nick on here last time. He loves Call of Duty, and I said basically, you know, if Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified, which we don't know anything about outside of the logo, if it linked into his online prestige profile, and he could work his prestige here at work or on the go
when he's
and
waiting
at
at a doctor's appointment or whatever.
I was like, would that sell you a $300 system? And he said, yeah. And Sony has done research, which I'm sure they do a lot of, that says like 2 things. First thing, the people that own the Vita now already have a PS3. They were like, it's so like 99.9 percentile. No one that
has a
Vita doesn't have a PS3. So that's where they're doing a bunch of the buy it on the PS3, get it on the Vita, buy it on the Vita, get it on the PS3. The other thing is that people aren't intimidated by the price, that they're just waiting for the game they want. You know, so like, there's not an RPG out there right now. There isn't. There's Dungeon Hunters Alliance, which is a Diablo clone, that I'm sure is very good.
But yeah.
I mean, as Diablo clones go.
Yeah.
But
well, it's not that great on the PS3 though, to be fair. It's been out on the PS3 for a while. And I bought it because it was a kind of Diablo clone, and the wife would play it with me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you don't have that level of control that you would have on the PC. But with the Vita, you do get the touch controls, so you can kind of aim your spells a little bit better. But it's still just not.
Yeah.
If you're looking for Diablo,
it's
you
not
want to play
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's not going to be
the people that are
the next big RPG.
Yeah. I mean, so like in the fall, we have one of the games I'm looking forward to is Persona 4 The Golden.
Isn't that a fighting game?
No, that's Persona 4: The Arena.
Oh, okay.
I never played Persona 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked Persona 3 a lot, but I never got to play Persona 4. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's a JRPG that's coming out for the system, and it looks really great.
Okay.
Bright, colorful, all that stuff makes great use of the OLED screen.
Okay.
But like, if you want a football game on the go, there's not one for the Vita. If you're a big Madden player, there's no reason to go on the Vita.
Yeah. If you're a big Madden player, you own an Xbox.
Yeah.
And you probably like playing with your buddy, and you can't really do that with the Vita. Like a personal...
You can, but you'd be sitting next to each other on the
and
couch
that's
looking
what
at
they
little
requires the
MLB
other person to have one too.
Well,
so
that's the one
it's
thing the
sort of
MLB, the show, kind of showed, was that one person could have the Vita and be in traffic, and your buddy can be at home, you know.
Because
and
playing
you're
Vita
playing
in
the
your
game.
car while driving is a great idea.
Well, like on a bus or on a train or something, I don't know. I just said in
Provided
traffic.
you have Wi-Fi. I mean, 3G is not going to be able to keep up with that kind of
Apparently,
data transmission.
they're breaking through that 3G barrier. Apparently, Street Fighter Cross Tekken for the Vita will be able to play 3G against PS3s, against other Vitas.
We'll have to say about that.
I mean, the Capcom did a wonderful version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I like it. I think it's the best version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The only thing I don't like about it is the loading time's a little long for a portable game, but it's still super quick in terms of loading times in general. But once again, like, I don't know if you guys remember. Obviously, you don't remember this because you didn't have a PS3 in 2007.
No.
But the summer of 2007 was literally months went by with nothing coming out for the PS3.
You know, and every console has its dead cycle, but it really shouldn't happen when it comes out.
Well, but that's the point. I think Sony kind of learned. Sony looked at the 3DS's launch lineup and how unenthused everyone was.
Yeah.
And said, we need to have a bunch of games at go that people will buy. Like, I bought my Vita
with 3 games.
With 3 games, but because I really wanted to play Luminous. I wanted to see the new Luminous. And then after I got the demo for that Uncharted game, I really wanted that Uncharted game. And it was just waiting for that $50 price point to come down to where I could justify getting a portable game, or waiting for my birthday when there was, extra money around to burn. So they've already sold the Uncharted gamers. I think they did a piss poor job of selling the Resistance gamers.
Mm-hmm.
I think now they need to show off the next Killzone, or show off a Madden, or they showed off the Assassin's Creed. When Assassin's Creed Liberation comes out, maybe that'll be another selling of Vitas.
Yeah, and if it comes out at $250, if you can get a 3G model with the game, a stick for $250, that would be.
I think you'll get a 3G model with the game and a stick for $300. Yeah. And I think that price point is good.
That's probably that'll sell some. I would be sold at $250 though.
Yeah, I wasn't.
But I don't really.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get a 3G model until they came out with that bundle at launch that came with the free months of the 3G, so you could try it out. What?
Just go.
The memory stick and stuff like that. So I was sold then, and I think honest opinion, people holding out for a price cut, you're going to be holding out for a while.
Well, you have to, because it's already losing money every time they sell one.
Yeah, and Nintendo's losing money on the 3DS every time they sell one, and their whole business model is built on not losing money on hardware.
On hardware sales.
So unlike Sony, who is apparently sitting pretty with people buying $2 apps on the Vita store and old PSP titles, which, my God, can you imagine how much money they're getting off the licensing fees for those games? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's literally no overhead. Like, Sony's just, here you go, we're putting on a server.
Yeah.
I mean, I've showed off those 2 AR games, Pulsar and...
Those are pretty cool.
Tabletop Tanks, and those are cool. Those are fun. And they're $2 a pop, and I bet Sony's making bank off that. I think that's why you didn't see them give a big push for the Vita at E3, because I think they're happy with where it is. I think they had realistic expectations this time around.
Maybe.
So, and I think, in all honesty, I think the Vita's going to come out ahead. I don't think it's going to beat the 3DS, because the 3DS has a built-in Nintendo audience, and the 3DS is already cheaper. But I can totally see in 7 years the Vita outselling the PSP where it is now.
Like the PS3 outsold the 360, it just took forever.
Yeah. Like, you just need to build up that audience. And, once again, Sony has to be making money somewhere. I mean, if people weren't buying stuff like Escape Plan and those AR games, Sony would stop messing around with them. They put out like 2 or 3 DLC packs for Escape Plan. Apparently, it's one of their best-selling games on the store. I haven't played it. I mean, I don't know what it's about, but like, they're making money off those smaller designed things. Like we saw with Guacamelee and When Vikings Attack. That's what they're going after with the Vita.
So they're competing more with the Apple App Store and the Android App Store with the Vita?
Well, but at the same time, they're also offering you something that those places don't. I mean,
sort of. I mean, the newer
they showed off.
tablets.
They showed off.
are pretty
Capcom showed
ballsy.
off their Street Fighter Cross Tekken iOS version. It looks horrible. It looks like a game you don't want to play.
Well, it's because it doesn't have dedicated controls. Like, there are some games that you need dedicated controls to play.
No, it looks graphically. It looks bad.
Well, yeah, because it's. I mean,
It's the iOS,
Yeah.
and it's like
But it is a phone.
Yeah, it
so
is a
like
phone.
you're
It is a
comparing
phone.
something that is
But
for
that's-
games.
but
and
you could use
something
your
that
Vita
is
as a
for
phone,
making
right? You can
calls,
Skype
so-
on
it
your
can
Vita.
Skype. But that's the thing, is that the Vita is in that spot where if you want console gaming on the go,
Yeah.
I think Sony has a realistic expectation of the population of people out there
I
that
was gonna
want
say,
that.
I think that's, going to be pretty small compared to the amount of people who want a phone
yeah,
and,
also
oh,
want to
sweet,
play.
it can also
yeah.
play these cool games.
I want to play Angry Birds. I
Yeah.
want to play Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but I don't want to invest $300 to get the console version or the Vita version. I just want to play it. Like, okay, well, here's this half-assed version of it.
Yeah.
Not that it's half-assed, not that Capcom does anything half-assed, but the half version of it.
Yeah, probably good enough for most
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. if you
Good
have an
enough to be
iPhone.
charged $10.
Yeah.
The $10 version of it. And I think when Ben Cousins, we bring it back full circle to the Nova and Resistance argument, Resistance is a 50-point Metacritic $40 game. Nova is an 80 or 90-point Metacritic $10 game. There's a big quality difference between those two.
Yeah.
The $50 game and the $10 game. $40 game and the $10 game. You know, when you consider free, like, it's very hard to be a bad free game. You almost have to not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff on the iTunes store that doesn't work. And it is free, so...
And
Coming
they have
from
a hell
someone
of a
who
vetting
has
process.
nothing that even, plays anything from the App Store. So,
No, I don't.
yeah.
Yeah. You don't have
But, I mean, they don't... Apple doesn't vet. I mean, time and time again, people have shown, like, oh, Pokemon Yellow is on the App Store, but it's not made by Nintendo. It's some
Some
hackneyed
guy ported it.
crack that doesn't even run that he's making dollars off of. Because Apple was just like, okay, just QA, just slap it on its butt, send it on through.
Yeah.
It used to be
Whatever
good,
people buy.
and then Steve Jobs died. That's
So we're coming up on the minute mark, right, Dave?
we're coming up on the 35-minute mark.
Anything else you guys want to discuss before we go?
I mean, there's that whole
the
big.
news thing is, I think the biggest news story this week was Microsoft has decided to skip Gamescom and the Tokyo Game Show, which is pretty much Microsoft admitting that maybe Japan's not as important as they thought it was, and maybe Sony is going to take Europe, and there's just no point in fighting it, and they're going to take some time out, and they're going to regroup, and then maybe next year with the new system they'll go back out. But it's just not financially feasible for them to do it.
I think you may be right with Japan. Like, they've never done well in Japan with the original Xbox, the 360, whatever. But Europe, and that's a toss-up, right? Like, they sell more units in Europe than they do in Japan. I think they may just be taking an off year because they don't really have anything to show.
Yeah, they might not have games.
I mean,
They've focused on this whole app development thing.
yeah, and with that, what is this? 56-page document that was either faked and is a brilliant fake, or it was leaked.
The new Xbox specs.
Yeah, the new Xbox specs and what their roadmap is for the next 5 years or so with the AR glasses and their smart glass integration.
And continuing to charge you for Xbox Live.
Yeah, which they probably should stop.
Does stuff that should be free. Which I think
Which
Sony
is what
has
Sony
shown,
does. Yeah.
Sony has shown you don't have party chat. Sorry, but
you don't have to pay to use pay twice to use Netflix.
Yeah, and Hulu.
And
And Vudu. And
does
MLB
Hulu work
and
on
NHL.
The PS3?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
That's all these things you don't have to pay twice for. And you don't have to pay to play your games online. And if you want to pay, here's 12 games.
Yeah, that doesn't upgrade your connection to the Sony servers or anything like that. It's just here you get all these discounts. You still get the free PS1 game and minis every month now, or did they do away with that?
They're going to start pulling back on that. They've said.
Okay, so
that they're going to instead use that license money to rotate in more new games.
More PS3 games. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, I was kind of hoping that I'd come up with some good PS1 games.
Well, they said if once one pops up and it's still great, they're going to do it.
Okay.
So I'm sure you'll see it in the future. I'm sure you'll see minis in the future.
Yeah.
But I think their focus now is that retail boxed product that is now downloadable.
Yeah.
But Xbox. I think it's great for Sony because they're going to have Gamescom all to themselves, and Nintendo is going to be the only other person at the Tokyo Game Show.
Well, you have smaller indie developers that
that
are
Capcom
in those
and
regions,
Konami and all that stuff. But
as far as hardware
I think
sales,
if Sony wanted to announce a price cut on anything, if they wanted to announce the PS3 price cut, do it at Gamescom.
Yeah.
You can own the news cycle. Congratulations.
Well,
but I think Microsoft is starting to bow out, and I think it's starting to reconsider its worldwide stance for the 360. Might be different for the 720 or whatever we're going to call it. AR glasses and Connect 2.
Yeah.
You're not going to play games anymore. You're just going to imagine them.
Nice.
I don't think that's the thing. I think they want to kind of do the Google Glass thing with the AR glasses, but that's a few years down the line yet. So, but
so anything else before we wrap up?
Brian?
Nope.
Apple? Anything? Doesn't fall far from the tree. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dave, anything?
I'm good.
See you guys next week.